postcards from Singapore, Brazil, Italy, Mexico, and didn't realise how many people were actually interested in the subject within their own country's context, as well as on a worldwide scale as a whole for the industry and the subject. And following that interest, we've actually been pursuing hosting similar events in Sweden and Barcelona, again looking at the future of the architect there. So I just thought I'd share a few postcards with you. This is from Piers Goff, who reckons that the only people who care and try to control all aspects of building is the architect, but don't employ one at your peril. And then Ben van Berkel from UN Studio thinks that if there is a future, it will be light and innovative. They're two very prominent architects, both on an international scale. And then we have students who are currently in practice. And then here comes the reality. So this is a graduate from Bath. This is me sleeping on the landing of the stairs in the office. It's the only place with carpet on at 4 a.m. on a Sunday morning whilst working on a competition entry. And of course, in 50 years' time, she thinks, this is me sleeping on the desk in the office. We now have carpet. And this is my family home where my family are sound asleep and may well have forgotten what I look like. Then there's also the other aspect of collaboration, and part of the interest of coming to talk to you here at Bournemouth was because of this idea of not just seeing architecture as a single-minded discipline, but bringing many other ways of working and bringing out many other crafts. And this aspiring architect sees it more as a collaborative process in the future, where it's not just buildings that are the outcome. So the larger practices could give us money, but we were really keen to do a lot more and involve ourselves in smaller practices, and it wasn't all money driven. So we got in touch with a tiny practice based in Covent Garden in London, based in an attic, converted attic, and they've got about 6 people. They're called Gundry and Ducker. And whilst they couldn't afford to sponsor us financially, and we didn't want that from them, we thought it would be quite interesting to see what their thoughts were. They comprise furniture designers, a couple of qualified architects, and a couple of students. And they designed a pop-up pub. They saw it as a pub within a room, within a space, for the opening night of the exhibition. It's plain on the outside and decorated on the inside. The interior is a one-to-one scale drawing inspired by John Soane and his etchings. View of the inside, that's the furniture designer, and he works with a quantity surveyor, as well as a lighting designer, all in this attic room, which is quite fantastic. Once again, thinking internationally, we launched a design competition. We wanted something physical. We wanted people to get in touch if they could represent their thoughts on the future of the architect physically. So an international competition, as I say, was launched, and the winner was a Spanish architect who explored the idea of voids becoming mass, and his thoughts were that the only possible revolution for the architect is to go right back to the origins of architecture. So as you can see, this graduate exhibition was evolving almost by the week, and we realised how big it could be. At this point, the crypt could hold 300 people, and it went from about 20 mates to 300 people writing to us asking if they could come along. So we thought we'd make more of the opening night to not just have a bunch of drinks, but also have a discussion that could be recorded. And we planned to have a debate. It would be a BBC Question Time style debate, and we thought we'd get the highest profile people we could think of that we'd never spoken to before and see if they fancied talking. So some of these names may not mean anything to you, but they've been people we've been inspired by throughout our education. We wanted to have representatives from all sides of the profession, from a small practice, from professors to large practice, to the TV presenters, the ones that try to appeal to the masses, to the everyday public, and promote architecture. It was on the back of this that the collaborative was formed. We decided to call ourselves What Now? Seemed fairly apt given the title of our first exhibition. And slowly the graphics started to come together. There was a marketing strategy brought in by Way, a PR strategy. We got a graphic designer on board. We started selling catalogues, brought a few of them as well. And we also just started giving ourselves random challenges. Why don't we phone up magazines, architecture journals, and see if they fancy working with us? So we formed a media partnership with Building Design magazine. The benefits we thought initially would be, well, good exposure, but it was actually a lot more than that. They enabled us to give ourselves sort of legitimacy and make us come across a lot more professional, and just give us the platform in which to advertise our events and our initiatives. So they enabled us to have sneak previews of the postcards in the run-up to the event. On the back of that, we then used Way to get us free advertising in Dezeen. We got an animation put in there, had to teach ourselves animation. Every day was a new learning experience for us. The animation went live, and within 12 hours our website crashed, and our web designer was on holiday somewhere, not picking up his phone. So we had to teach ourselves about bandwidth and things I still don't understand now, and get our website back up and running. So people were getting in touch, we were getting postcards sent in, people quite honestly interested in the future of the profession. So clearly we had a lot to answer for, and we'd almost exposed ourselves entirely as three very young graduates trying to tackle this issue. So as the scale escalated, we also had to question the people we were relying upon to deliver. And those certain points, which seeing this image actually makes my stomach churn a little bit, where we had to say to ourselves, can these people we're trusting, with no contracts, no money exchanging, actually deliver? We've split things up into packages. So there's the technical package, the graphics package, the music package, and the drinks package. And our technical partnership was to deliver all the sound, all the AV, all the lighting, and stream the debate live on the internet. It was coming up to a week to the opening night. We met with our technical partners. These guys were a bunch of mates who lived in the same block as Dan, promised us the world, and gave us a huge portfolio. And we met up with them, and they just seemed to completely misunderstand the entire brief. It was very odd, because suddenly we were questioning their competence, even though we didn't know anything about technology. And we realised that there was a complete disparity between our professional outlook for this event. And following that, we had to make a decision to say whether we could rely on them to deliver such a large aspect of the exhibition, or just walk away. And with a week to go, there were those partnerships such as this that had to be paused and put aside. And what was amazing was that we could come across this every day in practice, the idea of risk, the idea of mitigating risk and getting around it. And here, what seemed like a small exhibition could be completely comparable with life as an architect and life in practice. So we had to teach ourselves how to wire plugs, do the lighting rig ourselves, learn so much more than what we thought would just be the bit of web design that we did before, and deliver all the technical aspects ourselves. And this is us in the crypt trying to set up and work out how wires work, etc. We're also keen to get people from across the country involved and not make it too London heavy. So we wrote to schools of architecture asking students to get involved, to come along, to help us set up, but to also meet our sponsoring practices, forge relationships there, discuss the issue, and then also for them get a job out of it. And we got together a team of 20 students that helped us with the setup. It took 2 full days in August. These are our postcards going up. A bunch of students that were really helpful in climbing ladders, not drilling into the building because it was grade 1 listed. And this is the product of it on the opening night. Some artwork, which was kindly lit by Coutinho, the biggest lighting supplier in the world, that offered us very expensive equipment that we just about were insured for. So here's just a few images of the crypt in all its glory. And the final image, again, is a very haunting image. I don't know if many of you remember what happened in the first week of August in London, but of course it was the London riots.